guys, it's still April 4th, a little bit after 11:30 in the morning. I think I've done about 8 or 9 miles. That's a really nice stream called Oglesby. There's little falls there. Trail's been pretty good. It's warmed up quite a bit. Down around 3,000 feet now. Should have about 6 or 7, 8 miles left today at the most, I think. There's a shelter at mile 10, so when I get there I'll know I only have about 6 miles left. A little worried about my left foot. I've had trouble with it since week 1. It swells up in the afternoon as the days goes on, and it stings pretty good throughout the day, but in the morning usually feels fine. Don't have any problem with it. But I've stubbed my left foot 4 times in the last 2 days pretty hard. It just sends shock waves down through my foot. And I don't know if I thought I had a broken toe, but I'm not even sure now. Maybe small bones in my foot. I don't even know. It may be nothing. But I said if it didn't clear up in a couple weeks, I was have it checked out. So I may try to find a VA somewhere that can take a look at it and see if they can tell me what's wrong with it. It's not stopping me, but it just stings throughout the day. Right now it is slowing me down a little bit, so we'll see what happens. Well, apparently my watch's date is off, so I don't know how many days I've been recording and said it was the wrong date, but maybe even up to a week or more. It's actually April 5th, a Wednesday, and I am headed into Irwin, Tennessee. Got about 6 miles left. Just stopped at the shelter, had a bite to eat. They're calling for rain at noon. It is almost 1, and it did start sprinkling a minute ago. So anyway, just wanted to correct the date. It's actually the 5th, and tomorrow I'll have been out here 1 month. Started on March 6th. So just stayed at the no business shelter. Little shelter, but a nice one. No water there, no privy. There was water about 3/10 of a mile back before the shelter. So I'll probably check in tomorrow. I got a lot of chores to do in town tonight. I need food. I want to look at getting a different dry bag for my food. The one I got is just way too heavy. Takes up a lot of room. So I'm going to hit the outfitter. Also need new earphones for my MP3 player, and probably get a bed either at the hostel, Uncle Johnny's. There's a couple of hostels there. Uncle Johnny's is right off the trail as soon as you get into town. The trail goes right into town, across the Nolichucky River. Probably saying that wrong. It's a funny name, Nolichucky. And or there's some motels and stuff there. I actually made a reservation for tonight at the Uncle Johnny's hostel, but I'm supposed to call back and give him my credit card information, and they had me call him back because they got busy and I didn't have service. So my reservation there may or may not be any good. No big deal. Won't be like Hot Springs, where there was absolutely no rooms available, no beds. Everything was packed full. This is a little bit bigger town, I believe, and it's a little bit more, not just a hiker or float town like Hot Springs was. Anyway, I've rambled enough. Hey guys, it's still the 5th. No, it's the 4th. Just came around the corner. You can get a shot of Irwin, Tennessee there. It's like a pretty good sized town. Kind of spread out more than the other mountain towns. They got more room. I gotta watch my step here. The Nolichucky River runs through it. As soon as we cross the river, the hostel there, we'll see what kind of accommodations they have. I talked to an older section hiker that came out of Hot Springs. He's right behind me, about a mile or so. He said he's got a truck parked here, that hostel. He can give me a ride into town if I wanted to go to that Super 8 motel. And save me from paying for a shuttle and don't have to walk another mile or so, which when I get down here, I got about a mile and a half left. I'm going to be pretty done. The right knee's getting a little jinky today for some reason, but other than that, not too bad. Nothing a little rest won't probably cure. Little view over here to the west, I think. You can hear the road or something down there. I think it sounds like a road. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the rustling of the wind in the trees or the road or a rushing of a river. Sometimes when I do see the river down there. It's a pretty big river. Sometimes if you hear a Harley or a Jake brake or something, I know it's the highway. We're too far away for that. It's just like a rushing noise. Oh yeah, there's the river. A railroad track right there, which I know I've got to cross the railroad track. At least it shows on my map. Nice little view there. Well, there is the Nolichucky River. See how big it is compared to the train track there. It's a good sized river through here. There's Irwin. So I'm going to get a better view down the trail here. Still got about a mile and a half left before I get down to the river. Alright, well, we just missed a freight train going by. You could hear them. There's a little river road right there. Perplexing thing is we keep going up. Usually when you get near a town you go down. I guess it's going to be a hell of a drop. Probably a bunch of switchbacks from here. I think that's the bridge we have to cross. And we got over 1.25 miles left. That's a pretty big drop for 1.25 miles. So I'm expecting a lot of really steep drops here, or a lot of switchbacks, which got over 1 mile left. Probably a bunch of switchbacks. Pretty little town, grass is green. Now you hear that train? There he is right there, a little one, going right through town there. I bet they have some rafting companies around here. Pretty big business around these parts is tour guides and rafting, whitewater rafting, stuff like that. Okay, bye. Morning, guys. It's 11 something on April 7th, and just came out of Irwin. It's Friday. Took a 0 day yesterday because it was raining and pretty cold. Didn't really want to, but it was kind of a necessity, honestly. It was just too wet to be out there in that kind of cold. Snowed, actually we'll be in the snow probably in a couple hours. There's snow up on the top of the mountains here. We started down, this is the Nolichucky on the other side. Only about a couple miles in today. Had a little late start. It was about 4 miles from the Super 8 motel where I stayed back to the trail. I had to wait on a shuttle. And but I got a good breakfast this morning at the Huddle House, and I got 4 days worth of food in my pack, and new can of fuel so I can have hot food. It's supposed to be down in the 30s tonight and frost. They're calling for snow again tomorrow, and then it's going to start warming up. Actually supposed to get up in the 70 or up to 70 on Monday or Tuesday, you know, beginning of next week. So we'll be in the cold stuff for a couple days. Hopefully the wet stuff will stay away. And kind of like this area right here. Got some nice mountain views and river views. Might have to look at this area. I'll start looking for a place up here. We'll talk to you later. Morning, guys. It's Saturday morning, April 8th, about 8:30. I just got back on the trail. Did 17 miles out of Irwin, Tennessee yesterday, and we were up in the snow when we're up at 5,000 feet. We're down about 4,000, right at 4,000 right now, and it's super cold. It was in the 20s last night. I think it got down to about 24. So still a little bit of snow here, but most of it didn't stay down at this elevation. But everything's iced over. That was wet. The snow, you can actually stand on it. It's like a block of ice. So I was a little bit cold last night. Not sure why. Wasn't terribly cold. I was able to sleep. But when I did wake up, my shoulders and my feet were cold. But nothing painful or painfully cold. It's just slightly uncomfortable. Anyway, I'm supposed to get nice. Next 3 days are supposed to warm up. I'm about done with this cold shit, to be honest with you. I don't really like it. Fingers don't work in the morning. You got a lot of things to do in the morning, packing up and stuffing your tent in the bag, sleeping bag in the bag, and it takes a lot of manual dexterity. My fingers are frozen. It's just not a lot of fun, but as soon as I get moving, I warm up. So I try to get moving as soon as I can. Trail's good right now because it's frozen, so the mud we had yesterday down below, it'll be frozen for a little while. Trying to make Roan Mountain today, do another 17, and do another 17 after that. That'll put us into Roan Mountain, Tennessee, and probably hit the town Monday morning. I got a box I mailed. I bought too much food in Irwin, and I forwarded half of it to the post office in Roan. So it'll work out okay. I'll just we'll camp near this town Sunday night, and then Monday we'll just go and hit the post office and get that box. If not, if we get past it for some reason, I can just call the PO and have them forward it to the next town, which I'm not sure what that is yet. I haven't looked that far forward. All right, see ya. Good morning. It's still the 8th. Just crossed over Iron Mountain Gap. There's a road there. I think it's Tennessee 107. We're about 3,700 in elevation. Sign back there said 16 miles to Carver's Gap. And last night stayed at Greasy Creek Campground. About, yeah, right there. 4.2 back. It's just now about 10. Hughes Gap 9 miles. So I think I'm trying to make Roan Mountain, which will give me 17 for today. Passing a lot of these old logging roads. Sometimes you can't tell they're roads, but most of the time you can see their old road bed. And pretty neat. People used to drive up and down these mountains. That reminds me of that Loretta Lynn movie. But when they were young, he was driving up and down in the hills on that old Willys Jeep like a madman. Last night at the camp, there was a whole big bubble there. Ran into Zach and Allie, a couple from Boston. I ended up tenting right next to them. There was probably, I would say, close to 30 people maybe at that camp. The shelter there was small. There's about 6 people. There's a no privy there, but the water was right about 100 yards past the shelter. I got water last night. It's hard to drink water in this cold weather, but you got to. You still sweat and breathe it out. A lot of moisture. But ran into mountain goat. His brother Turtle broke his foot back in Newfound. His brother Turtle was a Iraq vet who was blown up and had to have surgery on his spine. Had a couple, I don't know if it was discs replaced or something replaced. I was really surprised he was out already. I figured him and his brother would make it all the way. Ran into a few other people that I've met on the trail. A few people I didn't know. You kind of run into the same people every week or sometimes every other day. You know, you go ahead of them or they pass you or whatever. Turtle and Mountain Goat from Florida, both in the Army, pretty good guys. Hate to see Turtle broke his foot. Alright, we'll see you. Hey, what's up, Indy? A little video here. Everybody, this is Indy. He's not from Indiana, he's from Texas.
That's badass.
Yeah. Hey guys, still the 8th, April 8th. It's almost 4 o'clock. Probably done about 12 and a half. 4 and a half or 5 to go to Rome Mountain. Doing a lot of climbing right now. Came out of a gap there and crossed some kind of road. I think it was labeled 1301. But it's warmed up finally. Until you sit, then it cools off real fast. But hiking uphill, it's pretty pleasant temperature wise. I don't think it's going to get to 60 today like they said it would. But it's probably in the 50s, low 50s. So once again, we're heading to Roan Mountain. There's a camp and shelter there, and there's supposed to be an old abandoned fire tower too. Now we're still on our climb up to Roan. It's been really muddy, pretty steep climb. I think we're getting toward the top though. Hoping so. I'm about out of gas here. Trail's pretty slick right now. Hard to get traction in the mud. When you take a good bite, you just slip. You gotta take real small step. Or you just spin your wheels. Probably hear it slapping. Listen. Hopefully we'll have some good views up here though. I think we're gonna have one here in just a minute. Snow still on the leaves, but it's melting on the trail, making it muddy. There's a little bit of view. Alright, we'll keep going here. This is called Ash Gap. It's a small little gap between Carver and Roan Mountain. We got about 2 miles to the top of Roan Mountain, so I'll be uphill from here. Little campsite there. Kind of pretty here. Alright, I need my trekking poles. Morning everybody. It's Sunday the 9th. As you can see, the trail is very, very icy, very slippery. I can't walk and film at the same time, so I need my trekking poles to stay on my feet. It was about, they said it was going to be 33 last night. I think it was probably a little colder. Everything was frozen. The stuff that was slush yesterday is all frozen, so probably a little bit below freezing. Stayed up on Roan Mountain, camped right by the summit. Luckily there's no wind, so that helped. I was a little bit cool, but not too bad. Slept alright. Got up about 7. It's 8:30 now. Just got on the trail. Got about another 17 miles today. A lot of it's going to be downhill, but until I get out of this ice and snow, it's just going to be real slow going. Headed toward Roan. Hope to be in the town of Roan tonight, Sunday night. Camp out there, and then Monday morning hit the post office. Alright, I'll talk later. Hey guys, just came out of Carver Gap. Crossed the road right down there. See the parking lot. A lot of people day hiking and slack packing down there. That's Roan. That's where I stayed last night on the summit. The highest I've ever camped. I was actually 5 feet below the USGS marker, which is on a rock right next to my tent, a big boulder. So I camped at 6280 last night in about 3 inches of snow, but it wasn't that cold, probably just below freezing. Wasn't too bad. A nice view here. This is a bald here. I'm not sure the name. I didn't check the map. There's several of these balds along this section of the trail. And a nice trail for a change. I usually do this when you're next to a road because so much traffic comes up off the road on the trail for the first few hundred feet or mile or so. See a lot of people down there parked. Can't tell it, but this mountain was all covered with snow. Well, you can tell from my video from earlier this morning. It was pretty slick. It's all ice coming down, and we're still high enough to have snow and ice. I think it's just out here where it's got exposed to the sun yesterday. It melted off. See, there's still some. But we're climbing back up, so we'll be back in it here in just a little while. There's an old barn about 6 miles ahead that was converted to a shelter. Probably stop there for lunch. It's 10 till 10 now. It's April 9th, Sunday. All right, bye. Hey guys, we're on top of Jane Bald here. Just came over this little summit here. Give you all a couple of views. It's warming up. Trail's getting muddy. I think it's better than ice. There's another bald up here. Be reaching that here in the next half hour or so. This is Jane Bald. Elevation 5,807 feet. Supposed to be pretty today. No rain, no snow. Supposed to get up in the, it was supposed to be in the 70s the other day, but they've downgraded that to maybe 60, which that's good. Sun come out, dry these trails off. Not too cold. I'm not sure what the temp tonight's going to be, but we're going to be down in Roan, Tennessee. That's North Carolina, right over there. When we came through Carver Gap, there was a North Carolina welcome sign there. So we're still skirting the border. We're in and out of North Carolina and Tennessee, back and forth. And I think we will be doing that for the next, I don't know, probably 80 miles. I keep forgetting the mileage. Not even sure what mileage I'm at right now. I think I'm getting close to 400 though. Alright, I gotta watch where I'm stepping. Hey guys, it's still the 8th. We're at about 4,700 feet. Just topping out water at the Stan Murray shelter. Heading toward Yellow Gap. And there's an old barn here called Mountain Shelter, Over Mountain Shelter. Should be up here in just the next half mile or so, maybe less. Probably stop there for lunch if it looks good. And the trail's dried up tremendously. The last 3 or 4 miles is worst trail conditions I've seen yet on the trip. Mud was 6-7 inches deep, a lot of parts. Very slippery. And glad to be out of that stuff. Big time. So these are up here, that little bald is, I think they call it Small Hump. And it's part of the Yellow Mountains. So turned out to be a nice day. I think we deserve it. Had a few bad days of weather and trail conditions, so happy to have the sun out and the wind in cool weather, and hopefully it'll stay like this for a little while.